All right, so we're here with Barry Habib. Barry, dude, I don't know how you make every one of your presentations better and better, but every single time I see you, you just bring the heat. So I just want to say thank you for all you do for our industry.
Well, thank you, and thank you, Jimmy. One of my favorite people, Jimmy Ryan, one of my favorite people in this business. Not only because he is just one of the sweetest, nicest people, but one of the smartest guys, and one of the best interviewers too. So
brother, I really
it's great to be
that.
with you.
That means a lot.
Look forward to it. You always put a smile on my face when I see you.
That's awesome. So you said this, and I think everybody laughed at it. I definitely laughed at it. Marry the rate, marry the home, date the rate.
Yeah.
And you just said it in a way that's just like, because everybody says it, oh yeah, marry the home, date the rate. And I think it's so played out that people don't, it goes over people's heads.
It doesn't have teeth.
At all. So you put a lot of context to it, and my God, we can't possibly break that whole thing down. But if you were to try to summarize it, because I know you're just a brilliant.
Yeah. So what we try and do is say, okay, it's a great saying, but it makes a lot of sense if you were to say, the benefit of marrying the home is that you then have the appreciation. That's your benefit. But there's a cost to dating the rate because you're going to swap that rate out. So let's quantify the cost. That is, what is the additional monthly payment for that year until rates come down? Let's just say, and the cost of refinancing it. So okay, so we know our cost. That's the problem with dating the rate. Right. But when we weigh it against the benefit of marrying the home by looking at the appreciation, now we could see why it makes sense, and that's the way to do it. So that's the cutesy saying. We then are able to make it make sense and resonate with the client, with the realtor. We want to try and solve instead of sell.
And we're not just saying buy a house and refinance later. You're putting the context to why that actually makes sense. And as an advisor, well, that's the difference. You're not a loan officer. You're an advisor at that point.
Well, because what we want to try and do is see the future before it becomes obvious.
Right.
So we know that when rates come down, what happens? Well, the National Association of Realtors say if we drop 1% in rates, 5 million more people are eligible, so several of them will become buyers. If you add more buyers to tight inventory, well, then I'm going to have less choices if I wait, right? Then in addition to that, the price will have to go up. We know the laws of supply and demand. The supply and demand curve says that if you're going to add more potential buyers with a roughly limited supply, the only way to satisfy that is for prices to go up.
100%.
So I'd rather be buying it now,
right,
and benefiting from the increase in price, and also having more choices to do so.
100%. So you said solve, don't sell, and
yes.
I wrote that down. That is, people need to write this on the refrigerator. They need to put it on a Post-it note right in front of their computer. I think people are selling. Hey, no, you're going to get all this appreciation. Hey, no, what? If you can show it to them though and solve their actual problems, well, then you're an advisor. Again, you're not a salesperson. Go deeper into that. What does solve, not sell mean to you?
Well, I think if we're able to listen to our clients, understand what their fears are, ask them what their concerns are, instead of trying to sell them, let's dig to the root of what they're trying to accomplish, but also what might be holding them back from accomplishing that. And let's then take a look at ways to solve that logically. We just talked about the benefits of marrying the home and dating the rate, but there are several other ones, such as if I have a move-up buyer, that might be a problem with giving up that lower rate. Well, if they have a lot of debt, we can use some tools to show that take out a bigger mortgage on the new home, eliminate the debt, give you what you want, and not make the payment difference really make an obstacle for you.
Which was the problem
yes.
you're solving.
So if we solve for that, if we solve for people that, because of the tight inventory levels, have to bid above asking price, well, emotionally they might not be able to get around it, right. But if we quantify what that would take, then I believe it becomes something where we'd be able to help that customer make the right decisions.
It's not emotional then. You solve the problem of that negative emotional feeling of overpaying for a house. Oh, I'm overpaying, I just don't want to do it.
So how long will it take for me to break even? Where am I going to be 5 years from now? Am I going to be in a big profit position? And then, okay, so wait, I get to win the home of my dreams. I don't have to sacrifice, I don't have to wait and shop any longer. I get to nail this home if it makes sense. If it doesn't, then you don't do it.
Right, 100%.
Right? So, but rather than me trying to sell you to do it or being on the sidelines, where that real estate agent might be saying, hey, look, I've got a customer, the deal fell through, and you're like, oh, well, well, I'm here if you need me.
Right.
That's not solving.
Right.
Then your only benefit for you is to sell the transaction. But what if you said to that realtor, well, let me do the math and see if I can get them in. But now let's do the understanding so that emotionally the client would want to, even though it might be physically attainable, let them feel good about bidding over asking price because we've shown them how long it takes to break even, we've shown them what the future looks like, we've shown them the dollar benefit, and then they can make an educated decision. Now in some cases, the waiting period might take too long. Right. It won't make sense. Some cases, the 5-year benefit might not be as attractive, so it doesn't make sense. And that'll help you get your arms around how much should I bid over asking price to be reasonable.
And I think you even, in your example, it was 4.2 months or something, where it's just like, and I'm sure that's not every time, but 4.2 months, that's so easy to swallow. Even 12 months.
Especially remember, because it was actually 4.9, but good enough from today.
Right.
So if it takes you 2 months to close or a month and a half to close, you're in the range of 3 months till you break even. And 100%. Then 5 years from now, when you're making over $100,000, he says, hey, you know, maybe I should bid a little bit over.
100%.
Win the home.
100%.
Be in there, get the home of my dreams, and feel good about it.
100%. So okay, you got really passionate about this. You know, Barry, I don't want to talk about the Fed. You know, I don't want to talk about the market. You know, I'm a loan officer. This is way too complex to me. And you just shouted it as loud as you can. Yes, you can. And I feel like that's something people need to hear, because I just had an interview with someone who said you were the best speaker, that they took tons of notes. And like, yeah, I struggle with that. Beautiful woman, 7 years experience, closing lots of loans. I'm scared to do it. How do people get to that point where they can actually feel confident in talking like really talking like you?
It takes a little practice, but it's certainly attainable. You know, none of us are born with, hey, man, hey. It's certainly attainable. None of us are born with that knowledge. We all learn it.
Right.
And if you think about the things you've learned, the things that you do that are really difficult, putting a loan together is really hard. Right. So understanding how the economy works, understanding what might be important to the Fed and where that might lead interest rates, and what keys to look at that could trigger changes, well, by understanding that, practicing that, and then explaining it to your customers makes you more valuable than somebody else. That's what this is about, right? We're competing.
100%.
So where are my edges? You can't say, well, my edge is in rate, because somebody will always have a better rate.
Right.
My edge is in service, because somebody will always have better. Your edge has to be your knowledge and your advice, and then putting it all into application.
And look, I can personally attest to this, Barry, and I've told you this several times. I literally copied your description of how mortgage-backed securities work, and I would read it verbatim to clients. But then all of a sudden, I've said this like 100 times, I'm going to make it into my own. And then I got a little bit deeper with it, got a little bit more confident, and I'd encourage anybody to do that. So last question.
And by the way, by doing that, what you change everything, because in the first few minutes on the phone or the first few minutes in person with a customer, how are they viewing you? Is this somebody who's just trying to sell me some crap?
Yeah.
Or is this someone who is really a student of what they do? They truly understand it. Think about the opportunity you're given. Every customer you talk to, so where do you think rates are? Oh, if I knew that, I'd be having a pina colada on the beach. Okay, you just blew an opportunity.
Big time.
To say, well, here's the thing that's interesting about rates. Here's what the Fed's role is. Here's what the runoff of the balance sheet is. Here's what might change the Fed's mind to get more aggressive. If you see unemployment move up from 3.7 to 4.2% because 12 of the 19 Fed members are thinking it's going to be under that, and that means they get more aggressive. All of a sudden, now that took me 30 seconds, I'd probably take a little bit longer to do that, but imagine if you took 2 or 3 minutes. It's not a long time, but how much more elaborate can you get in 2 or 3 minutes? And in that 2 or 3 minutes, wow, will that customer, then everything you say after that, what are they going to be receiving from that? Are they going to be like, this guy's just selling me some crap? Or it's like, okay, now, you want to plant the seed when the ground is fertile.
Right.
So how do you fertilize the ground? How do you soften it up? By making sure that you make them receptive by understanding that what's going to be coming out of your mouth is worth listening to.
And they buy you. They don't buy the rate. They buy you. So wrapping up, last year, MBS Highway had just acquired List Reports.
Yes.
And you were rolling out some major epic things like sending texts about, past loan numbers. Or
Yes.
All of the data.
Well, Agent Connect, so you can connect with. We have a tremendous amount of data.
So, what's new? What's coming out, and how is it gone?
We are coming out with some stuff. It's under wraps still, but it'll be very exciting in the next couple of quarters that you will see that I think will be very helpful. The data that I showed, some of the data, so that data mining is very, very helpful. The the integration of some of these tools, knowing which realtors to target, we've already done that. You know,
Right.
so if you can, there's only so much time,
Yeah.
and that's the only asset you can't replace.
Right.
So if you are trying to go after sources that are not going to be productive,
Right.
it is just a waste of time.
100%.
So how do we understand our sources better? That we've done a very, very good job of helping loan originators with.
I want one more actually. One more question. So you talked a lot about the opportunity that is out there right now. I got my start in 2007, 2008. I think that was a great time to start. There was just so much opportunity, and I see the same thing now. There's 32,000 loan officers that have closed one unit in the past 12 months. That's not a lot.
No, compared to the 280,000 from 2022 or the 240,000 from 2023, the ranks have trimmed a lot. It's about 143,000 right now in the industry. So there is opportunity. There's still 151,000 refinances being done. There's
Yes.
still 280,000 purchase mortgages being done.
And that's monthly.
Every month.
That's insane.
And those numbers will go up.
Right.
So, we're blessed. If you do 2 transactions a month, average in our industry, you've got a 6-figure income. If you do 1 transaction a week, you are amongst the top 6% of income earners in the United States. So there is an opportunity in this business. You just got to work for it. You got to make yourself better every day.
Absolutely.
And win in those competitive situations.
Very.
Thank you. Thank you, buddy.
That was awesome.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate it, brother.
Thank you.